Well, next up, most young children spend their weekends playing in a park, maybe learning to ride a bike, but the Crawford family has other ideas. The family of 8 ran a marathon together at the beginning of the month, including their 6-year-old Rainier. Now, unsurprisingly, there's been a bit of a backlash. Olympic marathon runner Lee Troop said everything about Rainier running a marathon is completely wrong. And the race director has now said they'll only let runners aged 18 and over enter in future, which is the case for most marathons. So the bottom line is 6 years old too young to be running a marathon? Rainier's dad, Ben Crawford, doesn't think so. And he joins me now. Mr. Crawford, thank you for joining me.
Hello, Piers. Good to be here.
Bit of a delay, so I'll keep my question short. Why did you let your 6-year-old join you in the marathon? And did you not have any health concerns for him?
We did have concerns, except for this is something we had been working through for 9 years. We've run marathons as a family with all of our other kids. We have 6 kids total, and they've all finished the marathon without any complications or concerns. And about a year before this marathon, he watched his sisters run, and at that point, he begged us to be a part of this. And we said, well, if you're willing to train for it, and as long as we run right next to you and keep an eye on you the entire way, we don't have any problem with you participating in this activity because we think it's good for you and we think it's good for our family.
I mean, I'm all for a bit of tough love with kids. You know, all my kids like sport. I like to push them as a parent to be the best at whatever they were doing. But certainly with my sons, when they were 6, I would never have put them into a marathon believing that their bodies weren't big or strong enough to cope with such a sort of physical ordeal. And you know, a lot of the medical guidance, as you know, recommends against it and thinks that certainly boys and girls should get through puberty before they even consider this kind of distance running. But there are other people who applaud you for being a tough dad. How have you felt about the criticism that's come your way?
Yeah, well, the first thing I probably have an issue with is the way you phrase it is put our child through this. You know, we're pretty clear, like we have a culture of a family where we've done hard things, but we've also experienced the gratification that comes from those hard things. And our 6-year-old has observed that. And he chose this. We didn't put it on him. I mean, you could say we gave him the idea because it's kind of the culture of our family, but we didn't put him up to it. He asked us and we allowed it. So there's not a pressure coming from that angle. And on the research side, there isn't much at all in the medical community. There's like cautions. You know, a lot of people say, oh, the risks may increase. But a lot of the studies are very outdated that are being quoted. And the bottom line of what the medical community recommends now, or not recommends, but says, is that there is no conclusion. There's no evidence. You know, they have their cautions like they do with buying a stick of gum or a pack of cigarettes. Which maybe that's a bad example because that's like blatantly bad for you. But for us, bottom line is the benefits health-wise and emotional that we've seen with him and our family and our other children is that the benefits far outweigh the potential risk that we've heard about medically or in any other way.
I mean, it took him 8 hours, 36 minutes to finish it. Apparently, he was tearful at various stages of the run. How was he afterwards and in the few days after the race?
Oh, the day after, he's jumping on, or the day of, he's jumping on a trampoline. He's asking about doing a half marathon again in a few days. He's talking about doing the marathon again next year. 8 hours is pretty much a walking pace. So it's a fully active day. It's a long distance. I've heard that Disneyland says the average kid walks 7 miles in Disneyland without any training. You know, there's no preparation for that. So it's a full day and it's a hard day, but I don't think it's quite what people are making it out to be. There's water every mile. We stop for food and drinks and playgrounds. I think when people see the video that we made about it, they'll see it's almost ridiculous to even talk about it in a way because of how fun it will appear that we're having.
I mean, I am in two minds about this. You know, I've watched the footage. I've listened to other interviews you've given. I've heard the criticism. You know, every instinct with me is to support a father pushing their kids. And I do think we've gone very soft as a society. I do think that. And I do think there's such a premium now on quitting and, you know, not putting yourself through this kind of physical challenge, if you like. And then the other part of me as a father is like, well, when my boys were that age, would I have made them run a marathon? I would have been too scared to do that, worried that I might inflict some kind of permanent damage. So I'm sort of torn. Do you understand that?
Oh, I completely understand it. But you keep on using this language of push or have my child do. And to me, that would be a major red flag. If we are pushing him using our will to motivate him to enter the race, to continue the race and finish the race, I would expect massive backlash from the community and from the child. But if the child wants to do it, then I think it's our job to assess, like, are there major medical risks that the child can't understand? Are there major scientific risks? If not, then the question is, how can we support the child to do it in the safest way possible, and then just be prepared to pull the plug if we have to, or if the child changes their mind. But never once in the 26 miles did he change his mind and say that he wanted to quit the race.
What next? When he's 7, is he off to the triathlon? What happens next?
You know, I don't see it that way. It's not, you know, our family is not competitive in that we're trying to do the next hardest thing. We're asking the question right now, how can we make running fun for where we're at now? So next year, it might be something else that's fun and healthy and challenging. This is not the first difficult thing we've done. Our family kind of like got some media attention for in 2018 when we hiked the 2,000-mile Appalachian Trail. So our kids have a roadmap for at least knowing what's possible for them. I don't care if they run for the rest of their life or become competitive. Like, they don't time themselves. We're not pushing them. But I want them to know that it's at least an option and that it's possible and it's something they can do if they choose to.
Ben Crawford, fascinating conversation. I actually think I've come round to your way of thinking. I do, actually, and I didn't think I would.
In that 3 minutes, really?
I think you've been quite persuadable, actually. Yeah, because in the end, you know your child better than anybody else. If he genuinely was on a trampoline after the race, clearly no real harm was done. You know what? Who's to say that a 6-year-old, if they want to do it, can't do that? So a great conversation. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.